Let's see what we see. That can go away. Um, its agenda. Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, and three. Testing one, two, three. Testing one. Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, and three. Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, and three. Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. Test.
Okay. Have fun. Have fun. Mm.
Can you guys hear me?
Now I can.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Because some of you don't have your names on here, can you let me know who is here? I see Eric 12 Pro Max, so I'm assuming that's Eric Campbell. Kathleen, I see you. Who is K013263?
That's me, Gerald. Barbara.
Barbara.
I apologize.
Okay.
I got held way past when I was going to
That's
leave,
fine.
and I'm driving now.
That's fine.
So I have to be off camera. Sorry.
Nope, no problem. I see Aisha, Susan, Cynthia, Nancy. Betty has sent me a text. She's having some difficulty, I guess, with her iPad. I don't know what's going on with that. If everyone can see in the chat box, you should have a copy of tonight's itinerary. Because Barbara is driving, I'm going to let her introduce herself. Most of us should know who she is. She is our department chair. So I'm going to let her introduce herself and say whatever she needs to say, and then she doesn't have to stick around and drive home safely. So Barbara, I'm going to let you go ahead and get started.
Well, thank you. And I apologize. I had intended to already be home and be visible. And I want to welcome all of you to fall semester. We're very excited to be back. I'm very, very encouraged by our increasing numbers and enrollment in all of our areas, especially music. And a lot of that has to do with all of the hard and great work that you're all doing. And I want you to know how much I appreciate it and how much Gerald appreciates it. And please don't forget that I'm here for any questions, any concerns, any celebrations, anything that you need me to help you with. I'm here for you. And I think that's it. So again, welcome back and thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Are there any procedural issues that you wanted to touch on in terms of communication, the fact that we have a new department assistant? Is there any processes that you want to touch on, and then I can sort of carry the rest of it through that you may want to mention?
Yes, absolutely. So as Gerald mentioned, we do have a new department assistant. Her name is Emily Holdsworth, and her hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So she will be the person at the phone or the front desk, and she again is here to assist. Make sure that you are using your KCC email accounts and make sure that you're checking them often. I know that there are sometimes that things occur, especially that I may need to get a hold of you about, and it makes my life easier if I can get a hold of you sooner rather than later. I have sent out a few emails, a welcome email, and also some important updates for software and procedures. So you should have those. If for some reason you don't see them, let me know, and I will make sure that you're getting them sent out, or that I'll get them sent out to you again. Just some good reminders about what our incomplete grade processes, what our policy processes are, attendance policies, that your syllabus needs to be in WIDS by the first day of your class. So if you have any questions, or if any of those things look new or different, please reach out to me. I'm here for you. Right now, again, I think that the key pieces are make sure that you're checking your rosters multiple times the first week of class to make sure that students haven't dropped off, or that there's a student that's in your class that doesn't appear on your roster. No one can be in your classroom that is not officially registered. I think that's another big one. And again, just reach out if you have any questions.
Okay. Any questions for Barbara before she disconnects? I'm not hearing any. Going once. Going twice. And okay, thank you very much, Barbara. I appreciate you jumping on at the top of this meeting.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'll just stay in the back and listen a little bit until I've got to disconnect. Thanks so
Okay,
much, Gerald.
no problem, no problem. All right, so folks, first, since we are not in person and we don't all have our cameras on, if you can put your camera on, please do so. If you're in a place where you can do that comfortably and safe and all of that, just so we can sort of see each other and know who's in the room. If you cannot, please make sure at some point that you reach out to your colleagues. What's unique about us here at KCC, and most of you have been with us for several years. Some of you have been with us even longer than I've been here. We are a family, and generally when you are an adjunct, you are often put in a situation where you don't have a voice, or you're put in a place where your opinion or thought processes do not matter. Something that I have really worked hard to do and is a part of my value system when it comes to our collective program area is I don't make any big decisions about what we do, where we go in our program without bringing it to the faculty first. Now, it's up to you to respond when I send that question out and say, hey, this is something the college is looking to do. They need your help. And if anybody who was around when we had to do that entire course outcome process for all of our classes, you remember those group sessions that we had where I had people all working together to come up with the 4 or 5 outcomes for our individual areas. Those are big changes that had occurred, and those are now embedded in our curriculum. So I say that because there's a lot of change. There's a lot of new stuff that will be taking place coming down the pike. And if I hear about it, I will bring it to you, which is why these particular meetings are so important, because generally the one in January is the one that I have most information, because that's when all the new stuff has sort of been implemented and will be starting. This one is just more of a, here's a quick overview of where we are and what we need to do as we're moving forward. But keep an eye out as things start to change. If there's any syllabi requirements or anything like that, I will make sure that I remind you guys. Barbara does send emails out to everybody that's on the say that again. Oh, I thought somebody was asking me a question. Barbara does send an email out to all the adjuncts, but sometimes some folks don't necessarily read them. And then you ask me those same questions that I know she has already supplied the answers to. So what
I am sure they read my emails, Gerald.
Okay, if you say so. So I will make sure that I also send them out just as a reminder, especially if there's a deadline in there. But please, as she said, check your KCC emails, because that's the email address that the college uses. It's really important that you do check those. If you don't know how to get into your KCC email, contact the help desk so they can walk you through that process, because that's really important as a part of our communication. In terms of the agenda, now we've done the welcome from, oh, hold on, Betty finally got in. All right, we've done the welcome from Barbara. As she mentioned, Emily, oh, I can't remember Emily's last name. Starts with a H.
Holdsworth.
Holdsworth, thank you. Emily Holdsworth is the new Ann Yerby. So you remember how all faculty, specifically those of you teaching applied lessons, you needed to send your request for any of the classrooms to Ann Yerby, and then she would, assign you and do the schedule. Well, now you need to do it for that, but I'm going to ask that you send your requests to me because I don't want to overload Emily right from the get-go. So send all of your requests for rooms. So if you're teaching piano lessons and you want to use one of the grand pianos, we have the auditorium, we have the
You'd like me to mix up some
room. Say it again, Betty.
Sorry, nope. I didn't mean, I'm gonna put
Okay.
myself.
Okay.
Oh, Gerald, I'm sorry, Betty and Gerald. if you haven't had a chance yet to read my welcome email, I provided a lot of contact information in there. Again, some of it may be old hat, but because we have some new staff like Emily, I've included emails and phone numbers so that you have that information.
That's really appreciated. That's important. So the rooms that we do have for those types of things, like if you want to, it's even if you teach an instrument like saxophone or a brass instrument of some sort, and you need space, you will need to reserve the band room or the choir room or the keyboard lab, or you can also reserve the auditorium. But you have to make those requests early. You can't, show up and do your lesson and then think you have it, and all of a sudden there's a class or somebody else has already booked it. So please make sure that you guys make those requests now. If you've already connected with some people that you know are coming back to your individual studios, make sure that they are registered, because just like Barbara said, we can't have people in the classes or in the ensembles that are not registered. You also cannot teach lessons for students that have not officially registered. So I will be sending out the first round, because as you know, this changes almost daily. Oh my God, it changes daily. So I will send the first draft of the studio assignments on Monday. That would be the first thing I do. And then I will send an updated draft the following Friday. And then the last one will be sent on the Monday that we actually start our lessons and all that stuff that following Monday. So keep an eye out for those drafts. When I send the most recent one, the most updated one, it will include everybody that is officially registered. If you told me there's a student that was planning on registering, but they hadn't registered, they will be in red. If they are in red, do not teach a lesson, because they might not register and then you go teach. And then guess what? You don't get paid. Okay, because we can't pay you for somebody that's not on the registry. That is really important. Those of us who are teaching classes, I'm teaching primarily online classes. Actually, I think all of us are teaching online classes except for the ensembles, right? Is anybody teaching an in-person face? Maybe Aisha, are you teaching a face-to-face? Okay, so the online classes are kind of easy because if they're not registered, they're not on that list. So that's not a problem. So I that's great. We ensemble directors, and I'm looking at all three of us. I know we have people that have been in our ensembles for years and they show up. Well, guess what? If they show up and they are not on your official registry, they cannot participate in that rehearsal. It's an insurance liability and a whole bunch of other stuff. And the college is dead serious about that. And it has been beating my own head about that. So please, please, please make sure that you reach out to all of your members that you know are coming back and get them to register as soon as possible. So that way we don't have that uncomfortable or awkward situation where you have to, have that conversation with one of your members. I believe all the ensembles are doing late start. So we are either like September 5th or September 6th, depending on where your dates are. So we have a little bit of time for recruitment as well. And I'm really speaking to myself. I'm trying to push my people to register. They just, okay, we know what that means. So we're all working to get them to register. But the numbers for the jazz band and the concert band look very good. I saw those yesterday, and I was very pleased with what I saw in terms of those numbers.
They are excellent. Good work, Eric. Great work, Chris. And Gerald, I know, is doing great work. For whatever reason, those singers are a little slower to get to the registration booth, but
that's how
they'll get there.
This is how we are.
And that first week that class is open, or if your class like Aisha or Kathleen, when you have a class that's full, if a student reaches out directly to you to request an added seat, they need to be referred back to the department. Again, that was part of the information in the welcome letter. That's a revised process from what we did in the past. And then I will connect with you and we'll work together to determine whether or not that request can be approved or not. So you may get a flurry of that activity. And even in the ensembles, once your official day starts, if you have folks that show up and they still need to register, as long as you let me know that you're okay with that, we can get them through the process. I just have to do a few more steps.
Thank you. Any questions on that so far? Going once, twice, and all right, good. So next, I'm going to combine the next two things, the introduction of our new music assistant who is not here because I didn't invite him here because he's still in the process, but I want to at least let you know who he is and what he will be doing. Zach Franklin, Aisha Franklin's son, will be our new music assistant. And I am really excited to have a student who is a musician actually be the student music assistant. It makes my life so much easier. So he will be joining us once his process is complete. And I'm really excited about that. He will be working in the library once he gets his hours set and they're approved by all the parties that need to approve him, Barbara, and all of that. I will notify you guys via email what his library hours are. This is the important part. When we have a library in the past, and I'm talking like way past, it used to be like the Wild Wild West. Anybody goes in there, grab whatever they want, and and then 5 years later, 7 years later, music is coming back. We thought it was lost, it has been replaced, and now we got it back because somebody just went in and took it willy-nilly. Those days are over, okay? As I have indicated before, if you need to borrow music from the library, and I'm talking to ensemble directors, I'm talking to individualized lesson teachers, and even classroom or virtual classroom folks, we have a lot of resources in our library that I've been able to amass over the years. Please utilize those resources, but I do strongly ask, as strongly as I can, to please not just go in and take stuff. What I need you to do is complete the request form, and our student worker will then pull those materials for you and place them in your mailbox. This allows us to be able to track what comes in and out of that library and not waste money replacing things when we find out that we've already had them, but somebody else had them, or they were loaned to a high school friend or something. So please make sure that you follow that process. Also, if we are in a situation, obviously this happens, okay, you're in a rehearsal and you're like, oh man, I need this piece, and the library assistant isn't there. Well, at that point, then yes, go in, but please make sure that you fill out the paperwork and leave a copy of whatever you have, the form indicating whatever it is that you had to borrow, so that way we can put that in the records and add it to your original request. Okay, it's no different than me going over to the Learning Resource Center and just walking behind their shelves and just taking whatever I want and walking out. There's a process. We got to do that. Okay. Any questions about that? All right. It's real simple. That way we can keep track of it. In terms of materials, if you asked me to purchase something for you at the end of last semester, I was able to purchase everything that was requested. So it is in our library. It should be cataloged at this point. Because I had a volunteer before the student worker could do it. I can only do so much myself. So I had a volunteer come in, and she and I worked together to get all that stuff cataloged. So I know, Chris, you purchased or requested some tuba music for your student or studio. Those things are in. So anybody who's requested something at the end of last semester, it should be in the library at this point. And if you need to use it this semester, just let me know through that process. Fill out that form, and then we can go from there. Okay? Any questions on that? I'm trying to zip through this stuff as quickly as possible. All right, confirmation of assigned courses and current updates on numbers. So everybody should, at this point, if you are teaching a class, you should be able to see who's all in your class. I am going to ask that you please, especially Aisha and Kathleen and myself, please send a notice out to all of your students about the other musical opportunities we have here at KCC. You never know, you might have a budding Beyonce sitting in one of your classes. it's a great opportunity for that student to take voice lessons or to sing in choir, or you might have somebody who plays the saxophone or the flute or trumpet or whatever. The jazz band or concert band may need some additional musicians, you know, so you share that information with them and give them my contact information, and then I will set them up with the appropriate person or instructor. We really are a team. This is a team effort, and something I learned this week in our fall session was everybody is a recruiter, meaning it's not just me to fill your studios or find students for your studios. You have to go out and find them yourselves, and you know, get the word out, because that's how we populate. You know, none of us are in a position where we can spend countless hours in the public schools, other than our public school teachers, going in and talking, you know, to students about the program. So, you know, if a student has a friend that's still in high school, they may say, hey, I take a lesson with, you know, whomever, and this is an opportunity for you to take one too, you know, and get them signed up. That's how we keep our program vibrant and alive. So I need everybody to roll up their sleeves and really reach out and try to get some students. And I say that because the numbers, although we are up 12% as a college, looking at the applied lesson. Now, once again, just like the choral people, our applied lesson students literally wait until the day before they're supposed to start to sign up. But as of right now, we have 7 students taking voice lessons. Think about that, 7. We usually have about 20. Okay, so we are not where we need to be at this point. So really, if you had a student last semester, and I'm talking to all the applied lesson teachers, but specifically voice people as well. If you had a student last semester that said, yes, I'm thinking about continuing fall, this is the time to reach out to them. You remember at the end of juries, we always ask them that question, you know, are you thinking about continuing your lessons the following semester? And almost everybody, I think there was only one person that said they weren't able to do it. But this is a great opportunity to follow up and say, hey, I remember you indicated that you were interested in taking lessons again. I would love to have you back in my studio. Let's get you registered, and so we can get started making some beautiful music. Piano, usually about 8 or 9 students. We only have 4. Okay. Instrumental, we have 1. So those are not numbers that make me excited. Okay, I'm not saying woohoo, we got 4, 7, and 1. No, those numbers are very, very low at this point. Yes, I understand students will register later on, but let's not wait till later on so we don't all have gray hair wondering if we're going to have a student. Because just like you, if you are adjunct and you got other things that you have to get done, you're kind of waiting to see how many students you're going to get to see if you can manage it, you know. So please make those phone calls, send those emails out, and let's keep those students engaged. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, moving on. Companists, thank you for all of your hard work. I am assuming, Barbara, are you still here? Please tell me you did not disconnect, because I got a question.
I'm here.
Okay, good. I am assuming accompanist, that accompanist budget that I had at the end of last semester or last year, because we negotiated that additional monies for our accompanist, will remain this coming year. Have you heard anything other than that, Barbara?
No, it was my understanding that that was when it was approved moving forward,
It was
and
ongoing.
that is my intention.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I want to be sure. You know, because I would hate to have to tell my accompanist, well, I was able to give you that increase last year, but
No.
guess what? Unfortunately, you're going back to the old one because they didn't give me money.
No, you are good. You move forward, and I don't anticipate an issue, but
Okay.
I don't want you to sweat that. That can be a conversation I will negotiate, but that I don't think that will be necessary.
Thank you. Usually I get a memo with my budget allocation. I've not gotten that yet. So that's why I was unclear as to what my budget was going to be.
Yeah, I know that when Gwen was the assistant, I received those also. But since that changed. I have not. And, but we have a new VP,
Mhm.
Tara. And so she's learning processes and figuring how she's going to do things. So if you don't see that, you know, in the next few weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, let me know. And then I will circle around to Tara and just
Okay.
see how she's going to do that.
Okay.
And then we can get the information, but I will get it to you.
Okay.
For
That's
sure.
good to know. Thank you. I really
Okay.
appreciate that. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
very much.
Mhm.
All right. Continue with the accompanist responsibilities. Those of us who are teaching a flight lesson, yes, we have an accompanist, Cynthia Garn, who is the accompanist, staff accompanist for lessons and for, you know, a whole bunch of other stuff, you know, but her time is very limited, and we have to be really, really clear with our students and also as instructors, making sure that when we need to use the services of our accompanist, that they are arranged in advance. Please do not go to Cynthia the day of a lesson and say, hey, Cynthia, I need you to play for my student. Okay, who's going to, you know, compensate her for that? You know, she has it's by hour that I am paying. And remember, the budget is limited. So if you guys are using her nonstop, and then I blow the entire company's budget, what are we going to do all next semester? So we got to make sure that we're utilizing her time effectively, but also, you know, being economical in our approach to that. So what I'm going to ask is, if you need to use the accompanist, let's say for a lesson or something, please check with me first before you go to her and ask her to accompany. Check with me, and then I can look at the number of hours that she's already used, and then I can say, well, yeah, we have some time. Let's see if she's available, and then we can move forward with that, rather than you going to her and she's saying yes, and then I all of a sudden find out I don't have enough money to pay for that additional 30 hours that she put in, you know, accompanying. So it's really important that you guys send your requests to me, and then I can kind of look at the budget and see what we have, and then move forward from there. Okay. That's a new process. We've never done that before. I'm probably going to regret it because it just means there's more work on my plate, but hey, we do what we got to do to keep moving forward. And that's where we are. Any questions on that? Going once, twice, 3 times. All right, good. Let's see, next, studio assignments. I've already told you, basically, I'm not going to do that until next week because the numbers are just there. I have a structure already, but it's, you know, so few students. I need to wait until I have more students. What I will need all studio instructors to do for me is, if you have a student that you know for sure is coming back and you want to keep them in your studio, you need to let me know their name. So that way I can earmark them for your studio, okay? Rather than a student signing up and it's a name that I don't recognize, and then I put them in a studio, and then the next thing I know, I'm getting a phone call saying, this was my former student from a year or 2 ago, and they wanted to study with me. And then we have an awkward situation where I got to tell somebody else, well, unfortunately, I made a mistake, da, 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 da. So if you know of a student that is definitely coming back that will be in your studio, please let me know that individual's name so I can earmark them for you. Securing your lesson space. We already talked about securing a lesson space and rehearsal space. Faculty artist recital. Okay, here we go. You know how we talk about having to recruit to get students to take lessons and be involved in our ensembles. Well, the best way to recruit is to show up and perform for the students. Think about that for a second. If they get to hear you do what you do best, that will inspire them to continue to do what they do, or maybe spark an interest in them to, you know, hey, I used to play the flute like 5 years ago, and the flute teacher is awesome. Let me look into taking lessons. You know, that's how we do that. So the faculty recital date is October 22nd. Everybody got that? I would love to have so many people performing on this recital that I will have to say everybody can only do like one piece, or this will be a 20-hour recital. I know that's not going to happen, okay? I got some chickens in this group here that I gotta watch. So if you are thinking about or want to perform, please, whether you've been assigned a student or not, it does not matter. You don't have to actively be teaching a student right now to participate in a faculty artist recital. The hope is somebody from the audience will recognize that instrument and want to study with you. So please, please, please let me know no later than next week, Friday, if you are interested in performing on the on the faculty artist recital. I do have a couple people who have expressed interest, and then I have a couple people who are going to be volunteering, but they just don't know it yet because I'm going to talk to them to convince them to do it. But I would love to have folks come in. Hold on, I got a new message. Oh, somebody put a chicken. That's funny. I would love to have a nice variety of folks to do it. So please, please, please think about it. And, even if you're only playing one or two pieces, and you don't have to play by yourself or perform by yourself, get another faculty member or a friend of yours from the community and do something. These double piano things, we got 2 grand pianos now. Think about it. And we got a lot of wonderful pianists on faculty. I would love to have you guys perform, whether you teach applied lessons or not. Even if you teach one of our 141 or 211 courses, hey, think about it. You perform and invite your 211 students to come and see you. Isn't that a wonderful opportunity to not just learn about music externally, but really see what a teacher does and to learn all those wonderful things that they've talked about and see them applied in performance. That's a great thing. And I do that all the time when my 211, all of my 211 students, I invite to every concert that I do, whether it's with the Battle Creek Symphony, whether it's a recital or what have you. And I always will get a response email saying, I am so glad I came because we talked about that and I read about it. But to hear you do it, it means so much more to those students. So please don't be afraid. This is an opportunity that we have as faculty to have a space. We got a hall that is ours to perform in. Let's use it, folks. Okay, that's my push. All right. Any questions on that?
Gerald, I don't have a question, but I wanted to add another piece about recruitment. I want to thank you all because I know that we have lots of opportunities throughout the year and even outside of the semesters that you all in different ways and at different times step up to assist us in reaching out through the community and attracting people to our programming. A recent example was just a few weeks ago, we had an express enrollment event on a Saturday that I was working at on the transfer table, but Nancy came and manned the music table. And again, we had a record-breaking amount of people come through. We served over 160 individuals that day. And everybody who walked into the event got to pass that music table. And many of them got to stop and visit with Nancy. And so again, that's an amazing opportunity that we have to let people know we're here, what we can do. Some of them might not even know that they want to connect with music, but they got that information when they were here. So again, I thank you. I know you're all very busy, but that helps us tremendously in getting people engaged in our programming.
Yeah, it makes a big difference when you are visible. Something that I will also encourage people to do, specifically our ensemble directors, we can request space in the student, what is the name of the building? Like where the cafeteria and all this stuff is. We can request space to have a table out there at any point. It obviously has to be coordinated, but we can have a table with all of our information out there and literally, recruit while students are going to other classes, because if they don't come in our building, they're not going to see anything about music. Well, they will now because I got a whole bunch of stuff out there. But anyway, the point is, we need to get them over to us. And the best way to do that is by having people, talking about what we offer and what we have going on. If you are not on our email list, I have over 700 people on our email list that I've compiled over the years that I send out monthly updates about our events and things that are occurring in the music area. if you're not on that email list, please get on that email list. And if you know people who would like to come and support what we do, and they want to know what's going on and they don't want to walk around with a paper calendar all day, just have them to go to the kellogg.edu/music and sign up on our email list. And I will not bombard them. I usually send out no more than 2 emails a month. Generally, I'll send one out at the beginning of the month and then one somewhere near the ending of the month, just to capture events that are on either side. So they will not get any more than 2 emails a month from me. Generally, it's 1. So have them to sign up. That way they can know what's going on, especially when we have auditions, like opera workshop auditions are coming up September 2nd. It's a great opportunity to share that information with the community and our students, specifically our online students. All right, next, any old business from the last meeting we had in the spring that anybody wants to bring up? Going once. Going twice.
Shut up, Gerald, I'm tired.
And that's it. Who just told me to shut up because they're tired?
That was
Who
Barb.
said that? Barbara, do you know you're not muted? Oh my God. How mean is that? Anyway, that's my boss. Can you believe she said that? Last thing, new business. Any new business? All right. Well, if there are no new business issues, then I shall shut up and call it a night. And I think this might be a record for our meeting because it literally was 38 minutes. So there we go. Thank you all for coming. I look forward to seeing you all throughout the course of the semester and have a fantastic time working with our students. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Joe.
Yep.